But now it's time to discuss organizational structure. I will share my presentation with you. If you have any questions on culture, you can ask in the chat. Well, structure, culture structure. So if I ask you to explain the structure of your company, probably it would be easier for you to draw a picture which shows organizational chart. It's about structure. And here in the picture, we have formal rules of authority, formal positions, and the division of labor in a company. This is the structure of the company. And it shows how job tasks are divided, grouped, and coordinated. And it's necessary to accomplish organizational goal. So organizational structure per se in itself is not important. It is developed for the purpose of accomplishing organizational goal. And in organizational structure, we see some stable features of an organization that are officially accepted and sanctioned by owners or management of the company. And again, these features are the way activities are grouped, controlled, and coordinated to accomplish an outcome. I love this quote that speaks of the importance of this structure. I myself is not a person of structure, and this is definitely not my favorite topic, and it's not something I would like to do a lot in my job position. But the importance of this was really well explained by Peter Drucker, who said, excuse me, who said, while a poor structure makes a high performance impossible, the best structure in the world will not ensure good performance. Well, think about this. So, a structure is not a guarantee of good performance, but on the other hand, you cannot make high performance with a poor structure. So this is about importance of structure, whether you are a culture people like myself or a structure people like probably some of you. What are the major elements of an organization that are taken into consideration in discussing culture? An organization has a common purpose. This purpose is achieved through a coordinated effort of a number of employees. There is division of labor, which makes operations more efficient, which help to put people of the same competencies in the same group, and they give higher results. There is power in any organization, and there's some hierarchy of authority. You understand who is your boss, who is your boss's boss, and how power flows the organizational lines. There is a span of control. This is how many people report to one superior. This is a structure for a hospital where you can see all the elements that we have mentioned before. We have lines of formal power. We have different departments like executive administrative director and executive medical director. We understand that these are different specialization, and executive administrative director oversees personnel, accounting, admissions, public relations, while medical director is in charge of laboratory services, pharmacy, surgery, and other medical people. So, as we said before, the key elements in organization structure are work specialization, departmentalization, chain of control, span of control, centralization or decentralization, and formalization. I will go very quickly through these elements, and please, while I am doing this, think of your company. Is work specialization high or low? How many departments there are in the company? What is the company's span of control, etc.? Have this in mind and apply this to your company. Well, division of labor into separate activities is work specialization. You remember Henry Ford, who is the father of this specialization. So repetitive work where people of the same expertise are grouped together and do similar functions. Well, about specialization. Specialization brings good results and an increase in productivity, but to some extent. A very high specialization makes people feel bored, alienated, and as a result, productivity may go down. Grouping of works is called departmentalization, and this grouping can be made by function, or works can be grouped by product or service. Geographically, definitely, if you are in Malaysia and I'm in Belarus, in the same company, we will be different departments. By process differences or by type of customers, as in Belarusian bags, for example, there's specialization by customer. There are, departmentalization. There are departments who serve businesses and organization, and there is department who serves customers like myself, just people. Chain of command, this is about authority lines that go from top of the company to lowest level, and it gives clear understanding of whom report to whom. Well, this slide says that the chain of command is less relevant now because of technology and this trend of empowering people. But I think that this conclusion is a little bit culturally influenced by authors of the textbook. Think about your national cultures. Is it the same? Is the trend of empowering people really strong there? Is the necessary technology there? Or the chain of command is still quite productive and it has to be there so that the company operates efficiently. This is the span of control. Yeah, it's about the levels of control. You know, depending on how many employees one manager oversees. If one manager oversees 3 persons and each of the managers is just 3 persons or 4 persons, here we have a span of control of 4 persons. The company becomes very tall. Decision making takes longer time, And it's quite expensive structure because you have to pay your managers. How many levels of managers? At least 6 levels of manager. With wider span of control, one manager oversees here 8 employees. And you see that there are just 5 levels in a company. Out of them, 4 levels of manager. So it's cheaper, decision making is quicker, but there are strong and weak points to each of the spans of control. But definitely the flatter organization, the cheaper it is in terms of salaries. So span of control is determined by asking some questions. What is the required contact? Do your employees need a lot of interaction with you? Then probably you will have 4 people. If they don't need a lot of interaction, you can oversee 10 people. The degree of specialization, when a job is highly specialized, not that much contact is needed. And your ability to communicate as a personality, depending on your ability to communicate, you can oversee quite well 10 people, or if you're not that communicative person, it can be just 4. Yeah, and here you have an illustration of narrow span of control. You see 3 people report to 1 on middle level, on top level, and a wider span of control when how many 3 and 9 middle manager report just to 1 CEOs. You understand the savings in salaries of this T, and T. We don't have them in wide span of control. Well, centralization refers to how decisions are made in a company. In a highly centralized company, all decisions are made on the top, and lower level employees are not involved into decision making. Decision making is concentrated at a single point in the organization. In decentralized companies, decision making is delegated to different level, and there are benefits of this, advantages of this. A company is more flexible and quicker response to problems because people can make decisions on their level. They don't have to wait for instruction from the top. More people provide input into decisions, and this makes quality of decisions better. And employees do not feel alienated from the decision makers. There is no this big gap and conflict between top management and lower levels. And people, when they are involved in a decision making, they perceive a decision as their decision, their own decision, and as a result, their motivation is high. It's not something imposed on you by management. It's my decision, and I will do this. Well, formalization, this is another dimension of organizational structure. It's the degree to which the jobs are standardized. I mean, if there are formal descriptions, the operations are highly structured, highly programmed, and people should do it just in this specific way according to a written procedure, then a job is highly formalized. In a low formalization, employees can make their decisions how to perform their jobs. They have quite a lot of autonomy in deciding how a job should be performed. Excuse me. We'll skip this. Now we move to examples of different types of structures. And again, listening and looking, please try to relate your organization to what you see on the slide. Does your company have a divisional structure? If it does, is it product division? Do you have different products in the company, and divisions are formed on the basis of products or services, like I said, in a bank? No, bank will be a customer divisions when group activities are around customers or clients. Bank serves companies and individuals. Yeah, this is customer divisions. Or geographic division. Companies division are formed in different geographical areas because that makes sense for the company that is multinational. Actually, this is an example of a simple structure, and as an example, here is a Jack Goldsman's store where we have owner and manager, and just salespeople and the cashier reporting to him. Companies usually start with a simple structure, and they change their structure as a company grows. As I said, all types of culture have their strong and weak points. The strong points of simple culture is fast, it's flexible, it's not expensive, and it's clear who reports to whom. But weaknesses is that it's a challenge to have a simple structure in a large organization. And besides, it's risky because everything depends on one person. And what if he's not there? What then? Problem. Bureaucracy structure, well, it's highly standardized, many rules and regulations. Usually it has functional division, authority, decision-making centralized, spans of control are narrow, and decisions clearly follow the chain of command, the lines of in organizational chat. And again, the strong point is that standardized activities, they are efficient. When we do the same, when a person does the same operation in the same way, he becomes really efficient. But the weaknesses, there may be conflict between units. Then a unit can pursue its own goal, which may be not aligned with a company's goals. Well, obsessive behavior may happen, and bureaucracy can cover weak management because there are rules, there are procedures, and they can act as a kind of a substitute for a management, but it's risky. The two aspects of bureaucracies are functional structure, we mentioned it before, and divisional structure. So here's a functional structure for business where president and then vice presidents in function, marketing, finance function, production, and human resources function. Another example is a functional structure for hospital. And again, you see that jobs are grouped into similar based on the function they perform. This is an example of a divisional structure, and it company, kind of entertainment company can be, yeah, because we have here TV division, music division, books, internet, or divisional customer structure for a bank where we have consumer loans, mortgage loans, business, agriculture loans, or geographic culture. Well, there is a matrix structure that combines the two forms of departmentalization. It's function and product. And it has its strong point because it puts specialists together, a greater pool of knowledge on expertise, and easier communication. It facilitates communication. But on the weak side, we can mention that, well, responsibility can be not so clear. There may be duplication of effort, and it's related to costs. And an employee can get commands from two bosses, and this may be confusing, sorry. Here we have an example of a matrix structure where we have project structure, different brands, different makes of a car here, and functional structure, marketing, finance, engineering. So if you are here, this subordinate, you will be reporting to vice president in marketing and to project manager of Mustang. And this can be a little bit tricky sometimes. This is an example of Ford Motor Company. Another example is a matrix structure for a College of Business Administration. We are here, so undergraduate, master's program, or executive development, probably depending on the country. Yeah, in Belarus, we will be here, master's program in management. Yeah, and we do not have a program in community service. It hasn't come yet here to Belarus. I think I'm curious to know whether you can have this in your country as a program in a College of Business Administration. Other kinds of organizational structure or that came into being not that long time ago are a virtual organization, and you may be part of a virtual organization. I'm thinking whether International School, International Business Academy of Switzerland can be a virtual organization. Not sure. Yeah. Here is an example of a virtual structure where there is an executive group, usually located, I don't know, in the country where the company started. It does not move to, say, China or to Belarus. And an advertising agency can be in a different country. In Sweden, Swedish advertising companies are proud of their creativity. And research and development consulting firm can be somewhere else. Factories in South Korea, in Vietnam, because of efficiency of this, and commission sales representatives. So this how a virtual structure can look like. A team structure, a popular structure now, but not all companies allow for team structure. Yes, people work better when they work in teams and they are responsible for the results as a team. Besides, this structure makes hierarchy flatter and status, power, and rank are minimized. It breaks down some barriers, even geographic barriers, but technology of the company may not allow for team structure. Sometimes national culture does not facilitate team structure in a company because of high power distance in the country, in the national culture. So an example of team-based structure, project teams. Yeah, again, teams by depending on different makes of a car. Circular structure, yeah, with the executives in the center, and there are rings around the circular structure where the managers are, then specialists, and then first level workers. And this probably will be growing in popularity. This is one of the suggestions. Well, definitely you heard about the benefits of lean organization, and you understand what downsizing means and how companies do downsizing. But again, downsizing can be quite painful to employees, and if the company is in this process and started downsizing, either in investing or selling some units, you need to think about people. If you want to keep them, you need to offer some options to them. Well, another way to think of organizational structure is to understand whether a company is closer to a mechanistic organization or closer to organic organization. You see here in blue characteristic of mechanistic organization are written. If your company has highly centralized authority, if there are many rules and procedure, formalized communication, specialized tasks, few teams, and span of control is narrow, then your company is a mechanistic organization. In decentralized authority and decision-making, in fewer rules and procedures, tasks are shared, a lot of informal communication, teamwork, and wider span of control, a company is an organic organization. And how do we decide what kind of company we want to have? How are we going to structure our company, closer to mechanistic or closer to organic organization? There are some factors that we have to consider, but first look at the examples of mechanistic model and example of an organic model. It summarizes everything that was written in words in the previous slide. So going back to that warning of Peter Drucker about the importance of organizational structure, it's important to mention that an organization structure is a means to achieve ends, is a means to accomplish objectives of the company. And structure depends on the strategy of the company. There are a number of frameworks discussing different strategies. We can have in mind this one. A company can pursue innovation strategy. What names comes to your mind when you hear innovation? Apple? That's a good case. A company can choose to follow cost minimization strategy. Do you think IKEA company follows this strategy? To a large degree, yes. Or a company can choose imitation strategy, not focusing in innovating because this is expensive and it takes special competences, but just taking a product and imitating the product. And the strategy structure is designed following the strategy. For imitation strategy, you will probably prefer to have a more mechanistic model. For innovation strategy, mechanistic model will not be efficient. It will not work. Here you need an organic model, an organic type of structure. Yeah, here we have descriptions of this. Actually, imitation can be a mix of traits from organic and mechanistic models. Yeah. So, analyzing organizational structure of your company, you can ask the following questions, and then you will come up with a description of the structure. In my offline classes, we usually do this exercise in a group, and students' teams come up with a description of their company structure based on these key questions. They identify specialization, span of control, formalization, etc. Well, I mentioned that we cannot choose organizational structure randomly. One of the factors that is a contingency factor for structure is the size of the organization. You can use simple structure in a small organization, but organization with 2,000 or more people, they have to have more specialization, more levels of management, and more rules and regulations. There's no other way for them to exist. Technology is a very important factor impacting structure. Structures have to adapt to companies' technology. Think of a company that produces, I don't know, cars, and company that an advertising agency. Different technologies, sure. Different structures, definitely. You cannot have specialized, centralized, formalized structure of an car producer transferred to marketing agency. That will be a disaster of an agency if you do this, and vice versa. Environment is another contingency factor, because if a company operates in a dynamic environment, there's a lot of uncertainty, and with a bureaucratic structure, a company will be not responsive to the environment. But there are companies that operate in a very stable environment, where bureaucratic structure or any kind of mechanistic structure can work well. As an example, think of an IT companies and bakeries. Bread have been baked for hundreds and thousands of years, and the process is more or less the same. While in IT companies, all the time new technologies, some changes, and the environment is very dynamic. You know, Belarus is really good in IT technologies, and in MBA programs there are usually a few people from IT, either owners of the companies or heads of projects. So yeah, I know from them about this environmental uncertainty and dynamic environment. Yeah, this is the dimensions of the environment that impact the models. Okay, we will skip this. So just concluding, we still have some short time. So an organizational structure has significant influence on companies' members and on companies' efficiency. We cannot generalize, and there is no one best organizational structure, and there is no one best structure for employees. Some people prefer stable and well-structured structure, highly formalized. They're comfortable when they don't have to make their decisions, when they have clear rules, and not much initiative is expected. So other people are more happy and they love their jobs. They're satisfied with their work tasks that are ambiguous, and they like to do novel things. So it's different for different people. You're probably, my MBA grads usually prefer to have a lot of freedom and autonomy in their jobs. That's why they are MBA students. But when they start generalizing, I always tell them, remember, you are MBA students, and you are just small percentage of Belarusian businesses and Belarusian companies. Do not generalize. In other businesses, preferred things may be really different from yours. National culture. I want just to say a few words on this, that national culture really influences the preference for structure. And if you are still with me, please write in the chat your national culture. How does it influence the preference of the structure? Do people in your culture, and we think about a very average, just national company, not a big one, not with MBA as CEO, just a typical national company. Will people in your culture prefer a mechanistic structure or organic? Write in the chat if you are still with me. This slide summarizes all what has been said above. So the factors that impact the culture: strategy, size, technology, environment, institutions in the country. And then there are two broad groups of structural design, either mechanistic or organic. Of course, these are moderated by national cultures, cultural norms, and by individual differences. And all these results in performance, hopefully, and satisfaction. So what we as managers strive for is high performance and high satisfaction. So although structure is something what is the right word here? Structure is a structure. It has a big impact on satisfaction and accomplishing organizational goals. We need to have specialization, but remember that its efficiency is limited and it can reduce motivation. Rigid hierarchy, they limit empowerment and autonomy, but think whether people in your cultures really value empowerment and autonomy. And now we have a lot of remote work, but there are potential issues with this. So before adding more workplaces options in your company, think well about this. Downsizing has its costs and benefits. And concluding this topic again, a poor culture makes a high performance impossible, but the best structure in the world does not ensure a good performance. There are many things that you need to have good results and achievement of organizational goals.